What's up, everybody? It's Penuel the Black Pen. So I'm going to be reading two articles for you. The first one being from the Daily Maverick and the second one being from the Mail and Guardian. Okay, let's start here. dailymaverick.co.za. Ramaphosa allies form slim majority in top 7 while Mashatile, Mukunyane balance the numbers. This was written by Queenan Maswabi, 19th of December 2022. Newly elected ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa has officially dismantled his detractors with officials from the renewed 22 camp. ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa and his supporters have managed to garner enough support to install his trusted lieutenants as officials, even if by a small margin. On Monday, he was elected alongside Gwede Mantashe as the national chair, Phile Mbalula as the Secretary General, Marupini Ramokgopa as the second Deputy Secretary General, and Gwen Ramokgopa as the Treasurer. Ramaphosa had 579 more votes than his opponent. Mantashe only won by 44 votes. Mbalula by 102 votes. Ramokgopa had a margin of 425, and Ramokgopa only won by 157 votes. Nomvula Mukunyane and Paul Mashatile, who were voted in as first Deputy Secretary General and Deputy President respectively, are the only officials who are not a part of Cyril's camp. KwaZulu-Natal has yet again been left in the cold as their candidate, former Health Minister Zweli Mkhize, fell short of votes in his bid to be the president of the party. While the province had the largest number of members in the ANC, they have not been able to get a candidate voted in as an official. When looking at the geographical spread of the top 7, it is populated by leaders from Gauteng. Renew 2022 Deputy President candidate Oscar Mabuyane did not make the cut, nor did Stan Mathabata, who was vying to be the national chair. Phumulo Maswale and Tina Jomat Peterson were not voted in as Secretary General and first Deputy Secretary General respectively. Ronalda Nalumango lost the position of second Deputy Secretary General, while Pule Mabe did not garner enough support to be the ANC's Treasurer General. That is from the Daily Maverick from the 19th of December 2022, written by Queenan Maswabi. Now, moving very swiftly along, we go to the Mail and Guardian, mg.co.za, written by Paddy Hopper on the 19th of December 2022. It's a molo world as Ramaphosa's forces win the day. Monday, voting for the top 7 at the ANC's 55th National Conference at Nasrec went into extra time, like the World Cup final between France and Argentina, with the comrades making their marks well into the night and the results being delayed until late morning. The numbers have numbered for President Cyril Ramaphosa, despite early claims of victory by Zweli Mkhize's twerk team. And the Buffalo, unlike the French national footy side, has secured a second term. Right now at Nasrec, it's a molo world, to borrow a phrase from Ramaphosa's supporters' campaign song, with the head of state and his slate taking 5 of the 7 posts in the national officials. The Holy Trinity, outgoing Treasurer General, Secretary General and Deputy Secretary General Paul Mashatile, made it over the line and is now the ANC's Deputy Jesus, partially because neither Ronald Lamula and Oscar Mabuyane's split the Ankole slate. Neither Ronald Lamula and Oscar Mabuyane, they split the Ankole slate's vote by both contesting the Deputy President's post. Mashatile and Comrade Brai Peck, newly elected Secretary General Nomvula Mukunyane, were the only candidates from Mkhize's slate to make the top 7, despite all the table banging, heckling, and claims of easy victories from the comrades from the kingdom. It's a pretty decent result for Team Ramaphosa, both in terms of his personal margin and the close to clean sweep in the national officials, a far stronger mandate than he received from the conference delegates in 2017. Ankole's 5, Nguni's 2. Fair enough. There is a sense that the country and the ANC, like Ramaphosa, have dodged a bullet again, just like we did in 2017, by avoiding Mkhize presidency and by sending the KwaZulu-Natal delegation home with another proper thumping and no seats on the top 7. Mkhize may have claimed to have been off the hook with the Special Investigating Unit, the SIU, over the 150 million rand stolen from the state's COVID-19 funding during the digital vibes going into the conference, but he isn't. The last time the ANC elected a president from KwaZulu-Natal with legal issues, Jacob Zuma in 2007, he set about destroying the criminal justice system, including axing the head of the SIU before selling the country to the Guptas. Mkhize also teamed up with Zuma in his bid to dislodge Ramaphosa, and had they succeeded, it's pretty obvious what Ubaba would have wanted in return. As I say, we may have all dodged a bullet. There are some lessons to be learned from the 55th ANC National Conference, especially for the comrades from the kingdom. South Africa is not the kingdom. Once one crosses the Drakensberg, the loudest voices and ethnic chauvinism no longer dominate the discourse. Banging table and Wenzening may win conferences at sea level, but at altitude they no longer work. The tiger still has its claws. KwaZulu-Natal believed they had the muscle to deal with Gwede Mantashe from the floor. They didn't. The tiger scored a second term as national chairperson, and the Taliban went home empty-handed. Again. It's also 2022 and not 2007. Times have changed, and so have the players. Cyril Ramaphosa is not Thabo Mbeki, and Mondli Gumubele is not Mluleki George. For all his apparent distance from the party machine, Ramaphosa and his allies were still able to convince delegates to stick to their branch general meeting mandates and vote accordingly. And finally, Zuma is no longer the KwaZulu-Natal's ANC secret weapon, but rather its greatest liability, a political albatross that will sink them along with himself if they don't cut him loose soon. Mail and Guardian, mg.co.za, 19 December 2022, written by Paddy Harper. I'm going to keep it quite brief. Number one, very biased, of course, writing by Paddy Harper, as opposed to the Daily Maverick, which generally gave a balanced, very short account of what they thought. But of course, these are opinion pieces. And I can imagine from a lot of the other newspapers, The Citizen, other newspapers, The Times, etc. Business Day, I think Business Tech, I saw, or Business Insider, I saw they had some other commentary as well, the BBC. I don't read all the newspapers. I just went for 2 of the first. Maybe over time, as I become, or if I get paid to fucking read these newspaper articles, maybe I'll spend more time reading some of the other pieces so I can get a more balanced view. But I'll give my opinion. Number one, I don't agree with Paddy Harper. I think his opinion piece is biased and somewhat a bit rubbish. I'll say this, 4,000 delegates from the ANC get to decide what happens in the ANC, which currently has 661,000 paying members. They have lost 330,000 paying members from, I think, 2017. That's a third. It's a huge loss. 661,000 members. 4,000 get to vote. And of those 4,000, not all of them voted for Cyril. He won by 579, but there's a huge chunk that want to do Zweli Mkhize. I've had the same kind of notions around Donald Trump, Joe Biden. It's nice that Biden will win, but almost half of America doesn't like Biden. And you call it a democracy. Yes, people get to say they're at peace, but half of the nation doesn't like you. Almost half of the ANC delegates don't like you. And of those delegates, they may not even represent half of the paying members. And mind you, it's only $20. It's only $20 to be an ANC member for the year, not for a month, for the year. So the 330,000 people they lost just no longer want to pay $20. You can't even buy hot wings, 6 with that 20 rand. You can't. You can maybe get a loaf of bread and maybe with the change, you told them a chappies or I'm a Wilson's, I'm a champion. 20 rand. ANC members, for all their voters, for all their noise, for all the people are not paying the $20 to be paying members. They'll go vote, of course. Nakona in the votes, if you look at those votes, a big chunk of them go to the DA, a big chunk goes to the EFF. But we call that a democracy in a country with 60 million people, where you've got maybe 20 million people voting of the 60 million, and of those 20 million, a smaller chunk of those, maybe 10 million of those, maybe less, vote for the ANC. This political game we're in is bullshit. And now we're all imprisoned by Ramaphosa, who I don't like. I wanted him gone. I don't like Zweli Mkhize. useless leader, corrupt, just as a Ramaphosa is corrupt, just as a Zuma is corrupt, just as everyone else. Nomvula Mokonyane is a leader again. After Angelo Agrizzi directly said, this lady, we gave her money and benefits. What's happened to her? Nothing. Oh, Mama, actually, nothing. She's here. All these clowns that we see, Philem Balula on Twitter, he's still there. It's a mess. Paul Mashatile has been accused of being more corrupt than Cyril and Zuma. He's part of what's called the Alex Mafia in Gauteng. I think Panyaza Lesuf is from Tembisa, but you've got Lebogang Maile, you've got Mzwandile Masina, who was the mayor of Eguruleni. They're all there. Your politicians don't care about you, man, at all, but you also don't care about yourselves. The KZN people lost, of course, makes you wonder why they're not voting for the IFP, Inkatha Freedom Party. Maybe they will. Gayton McKenzie, when we sat down at a black tie event in Cape Town earlier this year, said if Cyril gets a second term, the ANC will effectively break. Because the RET faction, Radical Economic Transformation faction of Ace Magashule, Didi Mabuza, etc., they're not going to sit for another 5 years. They will break away in the same way when Thabo Mbeki was axed, you had a breakaway into COPE, with Terra Likota, Musiwa Lokota, and Mbazi Mashilowa leading there, of which Professor J.J. Tabane said on the Hustlers Corner with myself and DJ Swu. He said Trevor Manuel Tito Mboweni were behind the scenes helping to form COPE. Trevor Manuel has taken J.J. Tabane to court. That case is still ongoing. Politics might become interesting. Disappointed that Cyril is here. It means the people that are voting for Cyril are either tenderpreneurs, or they're going for positions, or they have various people that have positions and money somewhere, or they were bribed, because there were accusations of bribery at the last conference. This money, which is alleged lots of millions of dollars that were pala, apparently it was money for bribing. Apparently Bidvest, Brian Joffe, these big white companies, Aspen with Stephen Saad and the guys, maybe Discovery with Adrian Cole, some of these guys, there have been allegations that they are some of the bankrollers of Cyril Ramaphosa's campaign. So CR17 back then. Here we are now with Renew 2022. We don't know. It's a mess. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma was nominated off the floor. She said, no thanks. Didi Mabuza was nominated off the floor. He said, no thanks. Are they plotting something? Are they plotting to move away from the ANC in some way? In the same way, when Zuma was removed from presidency, Baleka Mbete stepped down, Malusi Kikaba moved aside, and some other senior members of the ANC as well. 4,000 delegates in a country of 60 million people hold us by the fucking throat and you can't breathe because of 4,000 delegates. And even in that 4,000, half of them also didn't want Ramaphosa. Here we are with the Ankoles. It was pretty cool. Paddy Harper saying Ankoles 5, Ngunis, and the Nguni cattle 2. Paul Mashatile not on the Ramaphosa slate, got in. I think Nomvula Mokonyane as well. But again, even if Zweli Mkhize had won, even if Elindiwe Sisulu was nominated, accepted, but then she didn't get enough support, even if she won, what would have changed? We've still got the ESCOM issue. Who's going to change the ESCOM issue because a big chunk of the country is not paying for the electricity? Are they going to fix the potholes? Are they going to run state-owned enterprises better? Is Pravin Gordhan going to be removed? Gwede Mantashe is national chairperson again. What is he doing? There's arguments that he gets huge bribes from foreign entities to only release mining licenses to certain people. The ESCOM issues is his issue directly because he's the Minister of Energy and Mineral Resources, of course. And then Upravin as an SOE, parastatals head, obviously, both of them come together with ESCOM. Our economy has gone to shit. Our grant recipients have moved from 19 million to 30 million people. Half of the country is on grants. 30 million people on grants, and it's not even 30 million people that are voting. It's not even 30 million people that are part of the ANC. There's 660,000 paying members at 20 rand a year. What is Action SA and Herman Mashaba? What are they going to do to show that they're better? What is John Steenhuisen and the Democratic Alliance going to do to show that they are better? What is the Economic Freedom Fighters with Julius Malema, Floyd Shibambu, Mbuyiseni Ndlozi? What are they going to do to show that they are better? Musi Maimane is Build One South Africa. Gayton McKenzie's Patriotic Alliance. We've got the ATM with Uvuyo Zungula. We've got the PAC, which has become a shadow since 1994. It's become a mess. Inkatha Freedom Party with their leaders. We don't even know who their president is because they still wave around Umango Sutu Telias. What about the other parties that are there? Who are they? Cope. Where's the Ramphele's party? Achang. Good party. Freedom Front Plus, Corneille Mulder and the boys. What's going to happen? You've got people like Tutuzane Zuma, who is garnering more support on social media. You've got people like Nhlanhla Lux of Soweto Parliament, of which used to be part of Operation Tutula, garnering more support on social media. You've got Mac G and Sol making more noise on social media. You've got Gayton McKenzie, part of a very small party, Patriotic Alliance, in the Karoo, making so much noise on social media. Ian Cameron, Action SA, Chris Papas, Umgeni Municipality. They're making so much noise on. So are you telling me Action SA? Are you telling me the DA? Are you telling me even the EFF, as much as our Julius are so huge, they are struggling to effectively use social media and get on the ground and win support? They can't create their own AfriForum. The EFF can't create a black Afro forum. The EFF's Afro forum and get 300,000 members like AfriForum contributing 100 Rand a month. 300,000 members, 100 Rand a month, that's 30 million Rand a month. They can use for campaigning. They can use to fix potholes. They can use to patrol the borders and keep, EFF Konja wants to remove the borders. Fuck. How's that going to affect their political campaigning come 2024? What is the DA doing to win black support? They want to scrap BEE. They claim they stand for social grounds, but are they loud enough to stand for that? And if they come into power, will they really maintain the social grounds? I personally hate social grounds. I want them scrapped. People need to earn value. They need to add value to earn value. It cannot be that people are just begging. How do you teach a lion to hunt? Do you teach a lion to hunt by feeding them free meat every day? No. You create an enabling environment for them to hunt for themselves. Our government, the ANC government, assisted by the DA and EFF, are very pro-social grants. You're getting free money and free services and you're not expected to do anything in return. You don't even need to vote. We'll see how it goes. Congrats to Cyril Ramaphosa and his slate on winning. I do not support the ANC. I do not support Cyril Ramaphosa. If Zweli Mkhize had won, I would have said congrats to Zweli Mkhize and his slate. I do not support Zweli Mkhize. I do not support the ANC. I do not support a chunk of the political parties out there. I'm very much for community leaders. I'm hoping to be a voice for more people in their communities to come together and lead. I say it in many of my videos today. Try and come together as a community, 1,000 of you, 20,000 of you. Come together, set up community meetings, set up community Facebook groups, Telegram groups, and then say, guys, we've got potholes here. How do we fix them? Let's put together my 10 Rand and my 20 Rand. Let's close the potholes. Guys, like Gayton McKenzie, these pools are not working. Let's put money together. Let's get certain people that have skills in the community to fix the swimming pools. Who in the community is not working? You will be part of our neighborhood watch and patrol. And we will try and raise money, not to pay you, but to give you maize meal, to give you rice, to give you cooking oil, to give you a maprai pack. We'll give you whatever we can give you, vegetables, so that you can feed your families. But then you must patrol our neighborhoods and keep them safe. We'll buy you guns. Keep us safe. Can we capacitate the schools in our neighborhood? Get the parents in their neighborhood. Stop screaming, but I pay tax. Clearly your tax money is not working. It is being given to corrupt ANC members who then give it to their corrupt tenderpreneur friends and then also give it to their rich white friends. It's not just black corruption, it's white corruption. Aspen Pharmaceuticals gets the most money from the healthcare budget because they roll out the largest amount of ARVs. They are rolling out the largest amount of COVID vaccines. Aspen, white Jewish-owned pharmaceutical company. Stephen Sard. At some point, I don't know if she's still the head, Judy Dlamini, the wife of Usizwe Nxasana. She was there as the chairperson of Aspen. You've got Bidvest, which was run by Brian Joffe. I think he stepped down. Cyril Ramaphosa used to be one of the chair people, one of the board members of Bidvest. They get some of the biggest tenders in government. Biggest. Some of the construction work. Group 5, Murray and Roberts. These are white-owned businesses. Your government banks in white-owned banks. They weren't banking with the VBS. They won't bank with small black banks. They won't even bank with the Time Bank, which is owned by Patrice Motsepe, who's an ANC funder. They bank with those. Their cell phone networks are these big white-owned. Your black leaders, ANC, EFF, PAC, whatever you call, they all live in white neighborhoods that are run by the Democratic Alliance, if not Action SA. The people in Cyril's neighborhood where he lives, I think in Hyde Park, if not Sandhurst, the people, they will not vote for the ANC. They live with the president, but they will never vote for his political party. But you guys will keep voting for the ANC. Number one, probably because you get grants. I understand. You vote ANC because ufuna imali yeqolo, back money. Brendan Governor, I hope one day he comes to the panel show, virtual cook. Used to call it imali yeqolo, back money. You want some of that back money, you see? You want money yeqolo, brah. You want money back money. I think 490 rand a month. Social relief for distress, 350. Hambe papa tu imungu 350 awu khongolose siyacela sikhongozile khongolose siyakhongozela khongolose u350. Because by and large black people have become nothing but glorified slaves, zombies, value leeches in this country. 3 to 5 million taxpayers in this country, of which 80% of the tax is actually paid by 1 million people in a country of 60 million. 30 million people are grant recipients. They are nothing but value leeches because the mafia government we have is not capacitating them to have skills. Angie Mutsikha, Bladen Zimande at basic and higher education are not capacitating children to be able to do plumbing work, woodwork, to build things, to manufacture cell phones, to manufacture cars, to build businesses that can export. We don't even have a great Minister of Arts in Unathi Mthetho. Bonang is constantly dragging him on Twitter. Who is capacitating South Africa to build more Sarafinas, Umoja, the Lion King, so that we can export our talent, our singing and dancing, because clearly Otaki are good at singing and dancing. Export that to the world so that we can bring in foreign currency. I was reading this morning that Kenya's got the biggest safaris, in the best safaris in the world. South Africa's got game farms, and I was even thinking, even in Kenya, where they have 50 game parks, those are probably white-owned, probably white foreign-owned. In South Africa, same. Some of the best, we've got the Big Five, the lion, and the buffalo, and the what, and the what, the rhino, the white foreign-owned game farms. Black people in South Africa don't even own the game farms. You probably won't even get a license from your same political leaders, even in your small yard, to get lions and zebra and giraffe, so that you can bring foreigners in, to bring in dollars and euros and yen. You don't. We've got Amapiano, but Unathi Mthetho is not taking a chunk of the budget and saying, guys, Amapiano's making us money, or Black Coffee are making us money. Let's give these guys 5 billion rand. Black Coffee, Maporisa, Clubs are the small. All of you guys, please come together, Zexpantwini. We'll give you guys a budget. Let's create institutions for DJing, for Amapiano. We're going to capacitate you guys to go to Europe, to go to America, to go to Asia, to go and make imali off Amapiano and bring it back into South Africa. Elon Musk. What is our government doing? What is Gwede Mantashe doing to try and create a relationship with Elon Musk and saying, please come to South Africa. We'd like to do some type of value exchange. Please come and help us. Is Black Coffee an advisor to Unathi Mthetho? What about our other talent? We had people like Wade van Niekerk, one of the fastest, if not the fastest human beings of all time. Of course, Usain Bolt, fastest in the 100 meters. But if you look at the 100, 200, 400, Wade van Niekerk, fastest. People like Caster Semenya, what capacity are they getting to try and develop more athletes to go into the world and bring back foreign currency? Our Springboks, are they being sent to the world to be like, let's send Siya Kolisi, Dwayne Vermeulen, Eben Etzebeth, Cheslin Colby, Magazole Mapimpi, Lucanio Am. Send these people into the world to go and be ambassadors for sports. They must bring in foreign currency. Let's send them out there to go and make money and do talks. They talk, they train, etc. Like, who is running this country? What are you doing for your community? I'm making noise on YouTube now, but I'm trying to be more involved in my community. I live around the Johannesburg Botanical Gardens, in Johannesburg, Emmarentia, Linden, Montgomery Park, Roosevelt Park, Melville, sort of, Albertville, sort of, Sophiatown, sort of, that area around the Johannesburg Botanical Gardens. I'm trying to be involved. I take walks around there. I'm trying to see if we can set up community gardens, especially there's a nice community garden by West Park Cemetery. I want to get more involved in Marks Park, the sporting facilities there, and make sure that the money that is brought in there develops our neighborhood. The botanical gardens themselves, should we maybe close them off and make people pay 5 rand, 10 rand to get in there? One of the most beautiful parts of South Africa, Emmarentia Dam. Come and see the gardens. Stunning. How do we ensure that we have our economy here and we close it off? And we make sure that we are well run and we have a great neighborhood and we put up nice complexes and stuff and get the best of the talent. And maybe move certain businesses here away from Sandton, away from Centurion, where white Afrikaners are setting up a lot of head offices. Maybe take some of the money from Ekurhuleni, which is a huge industrial part of South Africa, with the airport. Move some of it here and build my neighborhood into something special. Get to know the people in our neighborhood. The Muslims in my neighborhood are doing amazing. We've got amazing mosques that have been built on Bears Nodia. There's an amazing mosque on Berry Herzog by Greenside. The Muslims are doing amazingly in our community. How do we get closer to the Muslims in my community? Get closer to the white people, get closer to the black people. Some of the colors in my neighborhood, especially closer to Sophia Town, moving into places like Westbury, Coronation, and build a stronger community where I am. I live in the northern suburbs of Joburg, so we don't have potholes. Some of our services are great. I live in a DA-run neighborhood. Our ward councillor, Nicoline Jonker, is doing amazing work. I'm part of her WhatsApp group there where we speak about load shedding. They liaise with the mayor of the DA. They liaise with other councillors as well to make sure that we're running a better country. The DA is trying to see if, like in the Western Cape with the DA, they're trying to get the city power in Johannesburg to get off Eskom's grid and we get to have our own power. Trying to lead, and I want to be involved. And I want to get more people involved. The schools that are around here, Emerentia Primary, Greenside Primary, Greenside High. How do we capacitate some of those schools to become some of the best schools in Johannesburg and compete with the King Edward School, compete with the private St. John's College, St. Stithian's College, compete with maybe a Bryanston High, which I think is a decent school, JP Boys, and say, look, Emerentia Primary, like the Ridge, which I think might be in Westcliff, Parktown North, somewhere there. How do I get Emerentia Primary to compete with the Ridge to become one of the best schools in the country? The Ridge is the most expensive private school, I think, in Joburg. The Ridge. I think my mate Rob Hersoff went to the Ridge and then his parents sent him to Michael House. He loves Michael House. Michael House in Balkaw. An aunt of mine works at Michael House. Shout out to Auntie Rose in Michael House, in Balkaw. How do you get involved in your community and capacitate it and build it into something better? That's what we need to be speaking about. Again, shout out to the Ankoles, Cyril Ramaphosa. Shout out to the ANC for their national conference, the 55th. For the rest of us, what are we doing to run this country in a better way? How do we, I'm speaking for myself, how do we remove the ANC from power? And how do we capacitate strong, intelligent, visionary, innovative young people and old people to get into government, to get into the communities and run them? Who is the most intelligent person in your community? Who's the most hardworking person in your community? Who is the richest person in your community? How do you bring those people together? And you get the richest person to bring money into the community. You get the smartest, the most innovative to take some of that money to capacitate the schools, the churches, and to run community projects so that everyone in your community, when people speak about my community around the Johannesburg Botanical Gardens, I can tell you we've got 2% unemployment. I can tell you that we have a first world class of living. I can tell you that our crime rate is close to zero. We have neighborhood watch. I can tell you that we have businesses here. We have a strong economy where I live. The same way Umhlanga can boast. The same way Camps Bay can boast. The same way Sandton can boast. I want to boast about my neighborhood. Can you boast about your neighborhood? Esoweto, KwaMashu, eMlazi, eMdantsane, Gugulethu, Langa, Nyanga. Amakasa go Mahikeng. Amakasa go Nelspruit. Places like Ngodini, KwaNyamazane. Those places, can you boast about your neighborhood and how it's doing? Some of the villages in Limpopo, places like Polokwane and Tzaneen, and some of the villages around there, can you boast that you have a strong economy? You have zero or close to zero unemployment and you are a first world community. Let's get to work. Let's get to work. It starts with us, it starts with you. Please don't forget to become a paying member of my channel. There's a click join button, become a paying member. Unlike ANC members that are not paying, become a paying member. Subscribe to my channel. Please share some of my content. Let's educate other people. Let's see if I can get some of you to get involved so that we can translate some of my content into isiZulu, Xhosa, Swati, Sotho, Setswana, Sepedi. Let's get to speak to the rest of the communities, the rest of South Africa, and make a change. And if you're going to be watching ads on my videos, please know that YouTube pays after you watch the first 30 seconds. If an ad goes beyond 30 seconds, you can then click skip. But for the first 30 seconds, some ads are 5 seconds, some are 10 seconds. Those are fine. For the really long ones, watch the first 30 seconds so that I can monetize and I can carry on doing some of my work. Come 2023, I'm hitting the streets. I'm going to be traveling around South Africa, meeting with some of you, meeting with people that share my value systems of penalism, and then trying to empower and capacitate and help you guys set up WhatsApp groups, Telegram groups, get to know your ward councillors, get involved with the wealthiest people, the most hardworking, the most skilled people in your communities, to build better communities so that we can take the power back. Sithi amandla awethu and not amandla awabo. Love you guys very much. Have a great and blessed day. Cheers.